Hey, good morning. Welcome back to HKSOW. It's a special week that we're doing here this week because Vincent Wong's out of town. Andrew Work's taking the hot seat, and I'm bringing in guests. And today, Simon
Lee.
Again. Simon Lee, Lee Chao Fu, helping us out all week long here.
Good morning.
Hey, thanks for coming in, Simon. We're going to talk today about something near and dear to your heart, and that is education.
Education.
Yeah.
I don't know how to put it, but the problem with education in Hong Kong is like a Soviet style. With the government...
Soviet style? That's pretty harsh. Soviet style.
It is. Yeah? The government controlling the teachers, the schools, even how many toilets and time spent on different subjects, and everything has been like tightly regulated.
Right. Well, you know, the meeting of the panel of education are having their meeting today, and they're going to be talking about class size. How much of that kind of dictatorial edict is going to come down through this panel today in terms of talking about class size? What is the command and control from the Soviet?
But the problem is we don't have Soviet control over how many babies are born each year. So we come to the problem when we have too many babies one year and then we have less the other year. You know Chinese, right?
Yeah.
In the year of dragon, everyone's scrambling to have a baby, and then afterwards you have a year of snake, and then people...
Snake's okay.
Snake okay.
But sheep was like, nobody wants a baby in the sheep year. That was like, apparently there was a real dip.
Yes.
Yeah, but Hong Kong's real thing, of course, was the opening of the mainland immigrant mothers, and then the closing of it again.
And it was 3 years ago, and now we are seeing the impact.
Yeah, and I mean, I've looked at if you look at the demographics, really easy to look up, and you see Hong Kong's birth rate is on this steady decline, and then all of a sudden it goes bam, and then it flat, and then as soon as the government closes the door, bam, it drops again, right? And so now those kids are coming through the education. A couple of years ago, you couldn't get a spot in education to save your life. Everybody was crying, and it was the end of the world. Now, the numbers have fallen off a cliff.
3 years ago, we have mothers complaining they don't have the bed space to give birth.
Yeah.
And then 3 years from then, you have mothers complaining about kindergartens.
Yeah.
Rest assured, 3 years from now on, it will beginning to hit the primary schools.
Absolutely.
So it is not just really about the kindergartens, but like the whole pipeline thing.
Yeah, and that's I call it a pig and a python. When a python eats a big animal and then it goes away, it has to digest it for about a week, 2 weeks, and you can see the python's like this, and all of a sudden, big fat part of the python, and then skinny again. Those kids are like that. And like you said, first it was no beds in maternity, then it's no kindergarten spots. I'm predicting in a few years, tutors are going to be impossible to find, right? As people start hiring tutors for these kids over the next couple of years, you're going to be like, I can't get a tutor anywhere, right?
And I think the kindergarten sector is already better because it is more flexible.
Yeah.
When it comes to the peak for the primary school, it is going to be a real headache. But the government is not really foreseeing anything that could happen to them.
And they can see. I know Ip Kin Yun's been particularly outspoken about this, and he's written in my paper, Harbour Times, a few times saying, "Hey, guys, we can see this problem coming." Now, the panel's looking at it today, and I think they're starting to think like that. And so they're saying, "Oh, should we go out and build a new bunch of schools because we have all these kids?" And they're saying, "Well, no, we can already see the numbers dropping off." Of course, the teachers are saying, "Oh, good, then we can have small class sizes," because they think that's the best thing in the world.
Well, they don't want to. They don't want to fire teachers.
Yeah, exactly. That's political dynamite, right?
Yes, but I would rather put it this way: at the end of the day, a bigger class size isn't really a bad thing for the students.
Yeah,
you have more diversities. So to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But then smaller class size. People do intuitively think it's better, but then given the situation in Hong Kong, the highly monotonized curriculum, I don't think
it doesn't make sense
to do anything.
But then it comes down to the quality of the teachers and the quality of the kids sitting around you. And I know that the schools with the biggest class sizes are the top performers because everybody tries to get their kids into those schools. And the schools that don't perform well, nobody wants to go there, and so they can't attract students until they drop under the threshold, lose all their funding.
They're given the students, right? Because they have the funding, they have the school, they have the teacher, so you will have students.
Yeah.
Thanks to the education department, they will just send you students.
Yeah.
And this is Hong Kong, and you keep the low lowest performing schools surviving by just giving them students a budget.
Well, one thing we did a big story on about a little bit less than a year ago was the fact that there's this voluntary scheme where the best schools agree to limit their class sizes so fewer kids can get into the good schools, so they go to the second best. And then those limit their class sizes, and the whole thing is about protecting jobs of teachers at the bottom, which means students get pushed down into the worst possible schools for them instead of getting lifted up. But that's going to be more, if the teachers continue to do that, it's going to get worse and worse.
Everyone is complaining the education being too commoditized.
Yeah.
But I will say education in Hong Kong is highly bureaucratized. It is politics getting into education, not the market forces. But then they blame education becoming too commoditized, which is, like an oxymoron.
Yeah, so it's bureaucratized. We're going to use that for the word of the day. Simon, thank you very much for coming in and talking education on a Wednesday. Cheers.
Cheers.